Welcome back to another episode of Life with Fred. In this video, we're going to be making our latest two wines. As you can see here, I am pulling out the apples for the first wine. Before we get too deep into it, I do want to apologize. I meant to do this voiceover before I had surgery, but here I am 3 weeks post-op, just now doing the voiceover. So if I sound a little funny, that is why. I did make these wines on TikTok live. So if you caught that, thanks for tuning in. If not, you missed an interesting show. So I went to, as you can see, I went to go get some more equipment to make sure that I had the right amount of fruit. So right now I am zero out my scale with my bowl on it to make sure that I measure out the right amount of apples. So for each batch of wine, I try to have about 3 pounds of fruit. So I am doing about, I was shooting for about 1.5 pounds of apples. I think I ended up doing about 2 pounds of apples and 2 pounds of peaches. So I ended up with about 4 pounds of fruit in this first batch of wine. And I think the second batch of wine was my orange mango, and I ended up with about the same amount because I didn't want to throw away too much fruit. I did speed this video up to 4 times, so it's gonna go pretty fast here. So I'm almost finished with my apples at this point, and next is gonna be my peaches, and then you're gonna see me get into the other components. Alright, so at this point I got all my apples and peaches done, so I'm going to set that to the side, and I'm working on cutting up my fruit for my next wine, which I said was my orange mango. And I did keep the skins on the oranges and the mangoes for this wine, just to get that full orange and mango flavor. And again, I'm going for about 4 pounds of fruit total Some of the fruit was rotten because this was the last chance fruit from Compare Foods. Alright, so now that fruit is done, so I'm going to get a few more bowls so I can mix up my other components. And we're going to start with the blue bowl. I did my sugar. So each wine takes about 2 pounds of sugar. So on the scale, I'm making sure I got exactly 2 pounds of sugar. I needed a little bit more, so I went and got my other sugar, and there we go. Now to that sugar, I'm going to add my enzymes. And now what I'm doing is grabbing my primary, and I'm putting on my gloves so I can put my fruit into the nylon bag, which is what you see hanging off the side there. And you want to make sure that all your fruit goes into the nylon bag. That way you don't have to fish it out of the liquid once it's time to take it out of the primary and put it into the glass. So you see me do this twice with each wine, and then I add all my enzymes. And right now what I'm doing is trying to muddle it to get some of the juice to come out of it. And then in that container, I'm adding my 7 quarts of water. And that's the water dispenser behind me. So as you can see, I use filtered water. And again, I do this twice with each wine. The difference between the two wines is that with the apple wine, I added an ingredient called tannin to give it like a brownish color, which I did not add that to the orange mango wine. Once I get better in my recovery, I'm going to do a wine one-on-one video that's going to tell you all the ingredients that came, all the components you need to get started in winemaking, and how much I paid for everything to get started. So be on the lookout for that video. As you can see here, I'm adding the different components, and then I'm going to give it a good mix. And then in the next video, I'll come back and add or the next day, I'll come back and add the yeast. If you see me looking down, I'm looking in the recipe book just to make sure that I am adding um, what I believe goes into the wine based on the recipe that I am following. It's not a 100% science since I'm actually not going off an actual recipe um, from the recipe book, because there is no apple peach or orange mango recipe in the book. I'm kind of combining a couple of recipes to get the wine flavors that I'm looking for. As I stated before, I'm doing it twice. So the first one was the orange mango, and now you can see I'm putting the apples and peaches into the bag, in the nylon bag for the second one. Now we just label them and let them sit for 24 hours before we add the yeast. So at this point, I'm running around looking for. I was looking for my masking tape, I couldn't find it, so I just grabbed these labels and used that. I did end up finding the masking tape the next day, and so I switched the labels out for the masking tape because the labels didn't take the marker very well. Alright, so I neglected to mention that I started this on a Monday. So here we are on Tuesday, coming back to check the wines. Now, I did take pictures on my other phone like I usually do of what the video of what the wine looked like when I came back, but right now I'm not able to find those pictures in my other phone to share them or to inlay them into this video. But here I am giving the wines are a good mix before adding the yeast, and then we're going to come back the next day to give the wine a good stir. Now, because the wine hasn't really fermented, we didn't check the alcohol content level at this point because it hasn't, the sugars haven't started to turn into a wine at this point, or alcohol at this point. So that was one wine, and this is the other wine. Now on Wednesday we come back and we start to see some action. So on Wednesday we come in, we give the wines a good stir, and we check for an alcohol content. Again, I took pictures and video, but those are in my other phone, which right now I am not able to locate those pictures and videos. And honestly, I'm just being lazy. I'm sure if I get up and find that phone, I can get those pictures and videos, but I am way overdue in posting this video, so I'm just trying to get this content out there. I will do better about that when I make my next wines. So as you can see right here, I am testing the alcohol content. From the look of the color of that wine, this is the green apple peach wine. So at this point, I'm going to clean up my tools to come back and test the orange mango wine. Yeah, that's the orange mango wine, judging from the color. All right, so now we're gonna go into Thursday. Now on Thursday, I came in and checked the wines and was really surprised to see that they were actually ready to move from their primary and into their glass. So at this point, as you can see, I'm just getting ready to do what I normally do. Just come in, stir the wines, and check the alcohol content. Here I am testing the first one. This looks like the orange mango. And as you can see, I didn't put the lid back on. That's a dead indicator there that that is ready to be moved into the glass. So I'm coming back, ready to check the second wine. And I can usually tell when I open it if it's ready based on the how it looks and the smell. If it's a strong alcohol smell, that tells me that it's ready. And if it's a lot of yeast on top, that's another indicator. All right, so again, I didn't put the lid on that wine, so that is a dead indicator that that one is ready to go. At this point, I'm cleaning up some wine that I spilled while testing it. You see, I got the glasses on the table, so I'm just ready to move on to do that. Put my gloves on so I can go ahead and get that fruit out of the bucket. I just moved another container next to it so I don't have to try to run it to the trash. So getting as much liquid out of that fruit as possible before moving on. And I just push that lid down so I can use that as a elevated surface to allow gravity to do its thing. And the camera should have been a little bit lower so you could see that glass fill up. And you see the higher I raise the bucket, the faster the glass fills. I want you to take notice of where the glass, where the fluid level is in the glass when it's done. That's going to become important at the end. Alright, so at this point the fluid is a little bit high, but I'm going to take care of that in just a moment. And those white buckets are actually 2-gallon buckets, and the glasses are 2-gallon glass or 1-gallon glasses. And what I was doing was just trying to get that siphon activated. And again, I'm raising the bucket in the air because the higher the bucket is, the more gravity takes over and pulls that liquid out of the bucket and into the glass. So compare where this glass is to the other glass, and you see the liquid is a lot lower. That's where it should be. Alright, so at this point I'm just putting the filters on, or not the filters, the airlocks on, and as you can see I actually took some of that fluid out of that green apple peach wine, and both of the wines are at the same level. I'm just cleaning up my mess and get ready for bed. And I also labeled both wines so with the flavor and the date. Now remember I said pay attention to where the fluid was, and it's because of what happened. This is what I woke up to the next morning. Now remember I lowered where the fluid was before I went to bed, and I still came out to exploded bottles. So basically what I just did at that point was I just cleaned up the mess and poured out some more fluid, because as you can see the one on the left there is still bubbling over, even though the fluid levels was pretty low. These were some very active wines, so I just poured some more fluid out and let them go for a couple days, and by the time that they were done fermenting, I was able to backwater them, because I was going to end up doing that anyway at some point, with some more water, and get the fluid levels back where they should be. But it was very interesting to wake up the next morning and have such a mess. So at this point, you see, that's all you see me doing is just cleaning up that mess. But the science of it all is what makes this process very fun for me. So I was very intrigued by seeing this. So I got to work, got it all cleaned up, and got out of the house on time for work that morning. And yeah, I'm interested in seeing how these wines turned out, especially after seeing them boil over like that on me. So stay tuned for the next wines. I'm kind of late on making my August wines, so we'll probably have 2 batches of wines in the month of September to make up for it. But let's stay tuned and lock in and see what we have going forward. This has been another episode of Life with Fred, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.